morning, millennials, and welcome back to The Toast. Happy Thursday. That's just splendid.
Happy day of the Thurs.
Latter half of the week. Congrats. So much to be celebrating in this very moment. Thursday.
Yes. Always a win.
We got spray tan, so we just look and feel more like ourselves than we have all week.
And more alive. Probably not like ourselves, which is why we feel good.
Because ourselves is disgusting.
Ugly, yucky people.
Rats. And we got spray tans because today's our last show at the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. 4 out of 4 sold out shows. The residency is still in full swing because we're headed back to New York City next week to sell at the Beacon Theater 2 more times. But how are you feeling about the ending of this particular journey?
This leg of the Gizno has been a wonderful.
You've got some Gizno on your leg.
This leg of the Gizno has been fantastic.
I kind of love the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center. Not to
too.
sound like that girl, but it feels like a second home.
It does feel like a second home at this point. It's where everyone knows your name.
Literally.
We've gotten really comfortable, really familiar. We're just kind of like old pros up on that stage.
Like local celebs.
Local yokels.
It's really, actually, we joke, it's the nicest theater. The accommodations are so nice. They take really good care of us. I'm going to miss it there. I've loved doing the shows. I've loved seeing the swirlies. I've loved how many swirlies are experiencing the Hamptons for the first time because most of the people who come to the show aren't from West Hampton. They're like, you know what? Let's make a swirly weekend out of it. They're experiencing the Hamptons for the first time. I love that we've given them that experience.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing. It really has.
It has been. One more show to round her out. And I'm excited to do Gizno. It's funny. We rot in the house all week. We're literally like housefrau, trad wives.
Mm-hmm. You can't say trad wives to me without me immediately. I took notes.
You have to table. Yes, you're Ballerina. It's going to be a referendum.
It's the first story.
It's going to be a referendum on the referendum on Ballerina.
I just want to say I went to sleep thinking about it and I woke up thinking about it. I have so much to say. Go.
Okay, great. We're just a bunch of housefrau trad wives during the week, but 1 or 2 nights a week, we drive ourselves to the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center and kind of slay the house down boots. It's just this fun thing about us.
In celebration of it being our last show, I meant to tell you that I booked a car service.
I saw it in the
don't
chat.
want to drive.
I think it's weird that we drive.
Oh, there's a fly in this room, giving that episode of Breaking Bad. The fly.
It's an annoying, big, fat, buzzy one.
Tortured us last night, literally landed on my phone while me and Ben were doing our scroll time before bed. It has been torturing me for 12 hours. It's in here now. We have to sort of ignore her or she will take us down.
Okay, but it's big, fat, and buzzy.
I'm aware. I've lived with this fly for 12 hours. I don't know how the fuck she got in here. Yikes. Somebody left the screen door open. It wasn't me.
You go out on the terrace here?
No, in the house. And then he made his way up to my bedroom.
To your room, took a tour, said, I'll take the master suite. Thank you.
Precisely.
Have a great day, everyone.
The fly kind of has turdy energy, just coming to the house, very Ramona Singer, taking the master bedroom.
Yeah, as he should.
We, in addition to being girls who never leave the house and then eventually get glammed up and go to the West Hampton Beach Performing Arts Center, we've also been churning out content. Now, a big theme on the Toast this week, thanks to the viral nature of our viral video and our viral moment from
2007.
We did an entire podcast episode yesterday dedicated to our experience at Fat Camp, a fun fact about us that some people don't know and some people just randomly think about, and it's this fun fact about us that people can't get over.
Yeah.
We talked about the actual experience of Fat Camp, a lot of questions about day-to-day, what is it like? Is it like the movies? And then also the experience of the TV show, which is a cornerstone of a lot of people's childhoods, ours included. So that is up on the Patreon now. It's a podcast episode. And I think we left no stone unturned. We covered the gamut front to back.
It was actually really sad for us because we were remembering all of these amazing moments, and things will never be better, simpler, or happier than our days at summer camp.
Yeah, not just because it was a Fat Camp, because it was camp.
No, just camp.
If you went to camp, you can relate.
That's the highlight of your life. And then we just had to kind of move on from that.
No, and go back to being wives, mothers, businesswomen, CEOs.
Yeah, and not campers.
Correct.
And that's always hard.
I can't lie. I seriously can't think about anything besides Ballerina.
Oh my God, keep it in your pants.
No, it's also, now that I read the article and then I went searching for people's takes. I'm inundated in the algorithm, especially on TikTok with people's thoughts.
I read the article and then this morning I went to pull up the article for the stories today. So I just Google searched Ballerina Farm and went to news, and the subsequent headlines, other people's take, other publications.
Extrapolated.
Horrible.
What was it?
The dark truth behind TikTok viral Ballerina Farm's idyllic life. Jezebel, yikes. A peek behind the Ballerina Farm facade is bleak as hell.
Now, it's going to come as a shock to nobody that I abhorred this article. I'm sure, Jackie, you have similar feelings. We actually haven't even discussed it offline. I'm so excited to have a first-time convo about it. right here in this moment. And there are a lot of reasons I hated the article, which I will get into, but just know like that's the general gist. And I have a lot of reasons that I think are really good for hashtag standing with Ballerina.
Yeah. Also, the Times that wrote the piece on her 2 days ago wrote a piece called "For Most Women, Trad Wives Are a Freak Show."
Yeah.
I think you're going to go to her house and meet her children when this is the stance that you guys are taking. It was very clear
that there was an immediate bias in the article, which I think people who are even applauding the article can acknowledge. I think that the general takeaway from the article is that Ballerina Farm is actually like a victim and her husband is an oppressor. And that's what I've seen on social media. Like the word oppressor is really crazy to use. And we're going to get into it. And if there's anything else you want to talk about, like let's talk about it now because I will not be able to stop once I start.
Okay. Anything else that we want to talk about?
Jackie made cornbread last night.
Oh yeah, we had such a wonderful dinner. As you saw on the YouTube, it was very rainy and moody here. So
still today too.
It was a chilly day.
We woke up and we said it's a chilly day, and all day we were just like spent preparing for the chili. We
went to the library. We got recipes.
Jackie
at the
went
library.
to the cookbook section. It was kind of crazy.
I got a lot of really good recipes from a variety of cookbooks, not just for cornbread, but for other things. I'm going to make other things.
So the
like
cornbread recipe that we used was Paula Deen.
Yeah.
Which I feel like every dish is kind of has a vibe. And when you're going to go to a cookbook of like famous chefs, like you have to have the chef match the vibe of
the dish.
So the first cornbread recipe Jackie had pulled out was actually Alex Guarnaschelli.
Because I saw it in the library.
And I love Alex Guarnaschelli. When I think vibes.
But you didn't like the picture.
She also doesn't like, her freak doesn't match the freak of cornbread. I can't really explain it.
I just feel like you have to justify like using Paula Deen's.
Of course,
and
by the way, because she's so controversial.
You have
I just want to say,
yourself.
Using her recipe, it was delicious. I do not endorse, any of her behavior. However, having said that, when you're looking for something southern and fat and buttery, like it has to be Paula Deen or it's going to be wrong. Sorry. And the Alex Guarnaschelli one, the picture in the cookbook, it was so crumbly and dry. I could like feel the dryness through the page. I'm sorry. Why should I suffer because Paula Deen has like a very, sort of controversial history?
You shouldn't.
I shouldn't suffer. And I didn't. So yeah, I used the Paula Deen one. Okay. So the Paula Deen recipe was like very Paula Deen coded. Lots of sugar, butter, milk, butter.
And I went for most of it, but in true me fashion, I had to swap out the sugar for a Splenda Stevia.
Oh, that is
because they're a new sponsor, which I just recently got into Splenda Stevia. And I love baking, of course, but I can't put buckets of sugar.
It's crazy.
It like literally pains me to like take out cups of sugar.
Allow me, because today's lead sponsor, she's coming now, was Splenda Stevia.
And organic integration.
You know the little yellow packets of sweeteners, and they've created something new over at Splenda, and it's Splenda Stevia. Just so you know, it is made by Splenda, but it doesn't have any of the original Splenda in it. Splenda Stevia is an all-new plant-based sweetener that uses U.S.-grown stevia. So stevia is really popular right now.
I love the stevia leaf.
And I'm very Splenda loyal. We've had this conversation before, and you have been really into stevia, sort of like, educating me on the benefits. And then actually Splenda DM'd me. They're like, girlies, we make stevia. Splenda Stevia. It's over.
It's over.
It comes in packets, pouches, and liquid sweeteners. Splenda Stevia is a 0-calorie sweetener that is perfect to use anywhere. So, when it comes to baking, which we did last night, but also I'm actually like kind of like always like opening up a packet of something.
Of course,
sugar,
right here,
tea, things of that nature.
My coffee every day, stevia.
And I'm a brand loyal girl. Like Splenda's one of my OG brands. And the fact that they're now getting into stevia, the Splenda Stevia, it's a brand you could trust.
And they're evolving with you.
They're evolving with me. And it's a brand of toasters, which we love because their social media team is like always commenting on my TikToks. Thank you guys
I love
so
that
much.
For them.
So visit splenda.com/thetoast and use our code TheToast for a free sample of Splenda Stevia. That's SPLENDA.com/thetoast and use code TheToast for a free sample of Splenda Stevia. Okay, not Splenda like doing the most and giving away free samples. Like there's no reason you shouldn't use our code. You like free stuff?
And there's no reason why you shouldn't go and try this product.
Correct. And, also another perfect sponsor, Caraway.
Caraway.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Caraway. We are amateur chefs, especially in our Tradwife Hamptons era. We have been baking, cooking. Every meal is just made from scratch, pretty much. Giving Ballerina Farm Nara Smith energy.
Yeah.
And Caraway is sort of the cornerstone of Swirly Summer. We are obsessed with Caraway, their cookware, their bakeware, their food storage solutions. Not having their food storage solutions has really impacted us because we are cooking so much and we didn't bring with us the food storage, and like putting away leftovers has just seriously, I seriously started throwing things in tinfoil because the fridge is a mess. Our lives are kind of like being torn apart.
Things aren't the same. Leftovers aren't the same.
What's different about Caraway, you ask? Well, it's non-toxic cookware. Their products are made without any toxic materials like PFAs, PTFE, PFOA, or other hard-to-pronounce chemicals. It's easy cooking. So their ceramics naturally slick surface means that minimal oil or butter are required for slide-off-the-pan eggs and easy cleaning, and they are well-loved. Over 65,000 people have rated 5 stars about their Caraway kitchen. So now it's time to try it for yourself. We did the math, and their internet-famous cookware set comes with the sauté pan, the fry pan, Dutch oven, and the saucepan, plus lids and storage. It's the ultimate kitchen setup. So it'll save you $150 versus buying the items individually when you do the cookware set. If you visit carawayhome.com/toaster, you will also take an additional 10% off your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/toaster or use code TOASTER at checkout. Caraway, it's non-toxic cookware made modern. You absolutely love when the sponsors just align with the pre-Fast 5 banter.
It's so
kind of beautiful.
True. So back to our feast.
Yeah.
We had cornbread.
Paula Deen's version.
Very, very tasty. And I made my chili, which I don't think I've made my like Jackie original chili. Like sometimes I make
Where's
like
the recipe from?
It's an amalgamation of recipes that I've liked over the years. I've like taken the parts that I've liked. I've done away with the things that I didn't like. And it's just like, it's not anything crazy chili. It's just like a nice.
It's very standard.
At home, I use turkey. Here we use chicken. It's just like, obviously tomatoes, chicken broth, red peppers. I guess that's a little bit of the crazy ingredient.
Red peppers is a controversial ingredient. I will say it was delicious. And how you know that I liked it is while we were watching TV afterwards, I totally forgot to tell you this, like seriously, a piece of skin that had burnt off from the roof of my mouth, like I peeled it off. It literally, it blistered up. I ate it so fast. It was delicious.
And I actually feel like because I knew I was cooking for you, I didn't add any more liquid than the recipe called for. And I did achieve a mostly taco meat sort of texture for you.
No, it was liquidy.
It was liquidy for you, but it was thick for me.
I think it was perfect.
I think it was perfect too. Compromise.
And having that cornbread, I never do cornbread with chili. I know that's a very popular thing in the Midwest. Everybody gets like really crazy with their cinnamon buns. It's like peanut butter. I don't know. Cornbread is delicious. Even though I didn't eat it with the chili. Like I didn't eat the two in tandem.
I like Tostitos with my chili.
Me too. Or
I'm
rice.
A simple girl.
I get like so much backlash for having rice with my chili.
You know what? I said this to Ben yesterday and then I realized it was a crazy thing to say, but it rings very true for me. I don't eat rice.
And that is truly where we are so different because a meal is not complete without rice for me.
Like I don't eat rice. We don't really eat rice in our house. If I go to a restaurant, I like a vegetable rice. Like if the rice has like a lot of other things going on, but like I'm never making chicken and rice as like it's just never.
That's so insane to me.
It's not a food group.
You're literally missing out on such joy. And I like with my whole heart love rice. I would do anything for rice.
I know you do.
I think if a meal doesn't have rice, and really when I've gotten like serious about my weight loss, I've had to give up rice, but not completely. Like I can't live without it. It's like things I know in my diet, if I got rid of, I would be better off rice and Diet Coke. Sorry, it's not happening.
But what if you do like whole grain brown rice?
Oh, please. I think that there are certain things in like diet culture that are useless. And I think brown rice is one of them. Especially if you're trying to eat in a calorie deficit, it's literally the same amount of calories.
I know,
like, it digests better. I don't give a fuck.
Keep you fuller.
Oh, please. Please. I don't like, actually I do like brown rice. I just want to say success boil in a bag. One thing about rice, like the more like American grocery store it is, like like I don't make rice in the pan. I think that's insane.
Yeah. How do you even do that without burning it?
No, minute rice
impossible.
in the microwave. Oh my God. It's a joy. And I think there are tiers to rice. Obviously, like, the Asian cultures have really, really sort of crushed rice. I love sushi rice. I love chicken fried rice. Like I love that. But there's also something to be said about a basmati. I think that the best rice ever in the world, if you were to just sort of put a gun to my head, it is the vegetable fried rice from Mr. Chow because it's like literally not fried. There's just like little edamame in it. It's so good.
Yeah.
And that's where I get most of my vegetables.
That's your best rice in the whole world.
1,000%.
That's so crazy.
I know. You can't put me in a box.
I like hibachi rice.
I mean,
they put the egg in it.
You're a human being.
No, like they do a good job. It's consistently good.
Agreed.
Whereas other places, like when you order Chinese food, it's not consistent.
No. Across all hibachi brands, they crush the rice. I completely agree.
And you can see the egg. Like, that's real egg going
No, and
in
it's being cooked right in front of you. It's literally farm to table.
It's farm to table.
Which is the perfect segue.
Finally.
Let's
get into the fast 5 stories.
I'm pulling up my notes.
The fast 5 stories that you need to know. First one, Ballerina Farm, my queen, my idol. We talked about her a lot on the Toast. If you've never known what we were saying, let me just tell you, she is an influencer. Her name is Ballerina Farm. She's a former Juilliard dancer. So she's a ballerina and she has a farm in Utah. She has 8 children. She gave birth most recently in the winter and she gives birth these days at home. She had 2 of her children in the hospital, but the rest of them were home births. She lives on a working farm with her husband and her family. They milk their own cows.
Her husband is the heir to the JetBlue fortune.
Her husband's dad is a billionaire. He started a number of airlines, including JetBlue, and they live a very like traditional trad wife life.
She's kind of become the face of the trad wife movement.
She's one of like the most successful trad wives. She sells a lot of her wares. She sells her starter kit, which is the kit that I got from Lauren Elizabeth.
They sell meat from their like slaughterhouse.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think they sell like cheese. You can go to their farm and buy stuff.
Yeah, they're Mormon.
They're Mormon. Their children are homeschooled. So it's very much like the picture of what you would think of when you think of, farm life.
Little House on the Prairie. She has so many followers, so many viral moments. One, most notably, how I first heard about her when she was having a moment, you brought it up, is like, 2 weeks after she gave birth to her most recent baby,
2 weeks.
She competed in a pageant because she was like Mrs. Utah, and then they had like a Mrs. America and then Mrs.
World.
Universe. And so one of the pageants happened to be 2 weeks after, and she showed up, bikini, gown, everything. And a lot of people were like freaking about it. And that was like one of her super viral moments. When you think of the trad wife movement, it's literally her and Nara Smith.
Yes.
And
yes.
They are both Mormon. A lot of people don't know Nara Smith is Mormon. And I think a lot of the conversations had in this article are really like a piece that's not being said is like, this is their culture as Mormons.
Yeah.
So to us, it's like, oh my God. But to them, it's like not.
So she's also like a content creator and a businesswoman because she has all these businesses, as we said. She has millions of followers and she like crushes Instagram. Everybody loves following her. Celebrities follow her. It's like, she's a really fun follow and she's doing like interesting, really impressive things. I mean, to have 8 children,
is a feat.
Is a feat. To give birth to them at home, to then 2 weeks later, like go and do a pageant. I think people were freaking out and, they love to say like this sets unrealistic standard for women. But I always like to see like aspirational women. I know I'm not going into a pageant 2 weeks after I give birth, like not whatsoever. But I think it's cool that like the female body is able to do that sometimes.
For me, the criticism of her, especially with the pageant being, what was the word you just used? Aspirational, like or setting unrealistic expectations for women. I actually don't agree with that criticism. I think it's more like this is what this person wanted to do and that's great for her.
Yeah.
And if I want to rot in bed for 2 years after having a baby, like that's amazing as well. Like everyone's choices are their own and they should be celebrated. Not and this one person, just because she does have all these followers doesn't mean that she should make choices in her personal life because she doesn't want to like have, be a bad role model. Like this is what she wanted to do.
Right. And in the same way we would never like shun someone for not bouncing back quickly. Why would we shun someone for bouncing back quickly? It reminds me of when Christine Quinn had her baby and she was literally like the next day teetering in her high heels.
Right.
Like you would have never guessed that she had a baby. Like, I think that's so cool. Of course, I know that's not going to be me and I'm not like sad. Like, why does she get like, it's just genetics. It's the genetic lottery. She won.
Right.
Congratulations. Congrats, grads.
Also not in terms of like women who have had babies, but just like anyone who chooses to share their life on the internet. Barring, you're killing people, like your choices are your choices. And I'm not really going to clown on people. And I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I feel like this is a perfect example. And part of I think a lot of my thoughts on this article are informed by this overall like thesis that I've come to is that you are not going to find me like jumping on bandwagons criticizing influencers, female influencers. I think Ballerina Farm is amazing. When there are articles like this about, the highest paid male athlete and the highest paid, what does his home look like? Let's spend the day with him.
Does it become a referendum on his naggy bitch wife?
Right. No.
I don't think so.
When there are articles that are as in depth and as critical and as, that analyze as deeply, men who are crushing in other fields, then I will give something like this credence. But of course, no one hates women more than women. This article was written by a woman. I don't know. And the bandwagon, everyone is just sort of jumping on. That's not going to be me. And I do feel like the article came from, like, I think before the lady even showed up. And like you said, she had written an article 2 days ago about her thoughts.
The Times.
Oh, okay. That's different.
It's not the same author.
Okay, that's different. I do feel like the lady on the plane ride there, like, knew what she was going to say and sort of picked things out from her day. Not that things in the article didn't happen, but you're looking at a whole 24 hours in somebody's life. And the article was extremely short. These pieces go on forever. That Huberman one never ended. When they decide to like do a hit piece on someone, oh my God, they just wax on forever. This article ended. I'm like, wait, I kept scrolling. This is the end?
No, but also it's like not a secret that like and it's clearly obvious that like trad wifery and, you know, the media are not congruous. Like she's literally like unplugging from the media. They don't watch TV. They don't have iPads. Those are people who literally do not subscribe and give you clicks. Like, why are they going to promote this way of life? Like they are at odds with one another. So there's no way that this person like feels warmly towards this way of life. And like that girl boss culture that like Ballerina Farm is shirking and that a lot of the trad wives are shirking, that at least this author like had the honesty to say has failed a lot of women, but that's still what she's chasing and in the corporate world. So like these two things are at odds. We're not going to get like an honest take of it. It's not someone who's like looking at Ballerina, reveres her and is impressed by her. It's someone who's there to find an angle, show us something that we haven't seen online. And that's the story.
And also, what's the big takeaway here? For a lot of people, it's that like her husband is bossy. He definitely wears the pants, controls, and he sort of runs this ship. And this is a trad wife, a traditional wife. They have and they both were brought up super traditional Mormon upbringing. This is sort of the way a family is built in the eyes of the Mormon church. And that works for a lot of people. And, you know, that's how they were both brought up. So what is so shocking? That a trad wife is trad?
Right.
Oh no! Like what's surprising about that? And I think the way a lot of it was written was really intentional, because a big thing from the article that's being pulled, the pull quote, is how they met. So he had met her and, you know, asked her out and she had said no. And then they like, you know, had kept in touch. She still said no. She had mentioned that she was getting on a flight back to New York to go back to Juilliard where she was studying ballet. And he called up his dad, was like, listen, I need to get on this flight next to this passenger. He like used his place of privilege and ended up sitting next to her and was like, oh, what a coincidence. It's not a secret that he did that now, but in the moment they acted like it was, you know, happenstance, fate. They ended up dating and getting married. And a lot of people are like, that is stalker behavior.
Oh my God, are you guys okay? That is cute behavior.
No, by the way, not only that, how it's written is so important, because I could see it being written totally differently and the takeaway would be like, ladies, if he wanted to, he would.
Right.
Like, because it's written in the way that it was with somebody who's clearly just against this sort of, you know, arrangement, it's now stalkery.
Yeah.
But if it was in a book, you guys would have been like, oh, yeah. It's just, I think that the way it was presented was intentional.
Like, he's a billionaire. He wants to see her. Isn't this literally 50 Shades of Grey, where he's like maneuvering everything to try and get time with her?
Like, I just think, yeah. Could you see it that way? For sure.
Like, I didn't see it that way. I thought that was a really like cute story.
No, of course.
But I'm not looking at things like wanting to hate them.
Right. No. And so A, if you are, then that's obviously the conclusion that you jump to. B, they're like sharing this. They have nothing to hide. If you had a real sort of toxic, because people are calling him an oppressor, okay? If you had an oppressor living in your home, you're telling me you would invite the Times in? They don't need this article.
Yeah.
They did it because they thought they had an interesting life to share. And I think that's my overall takeaway was they invited this lady into their house and they did not put on a show. You know, you think a reporter's coming, everyone's dressed in their finest, we're acting normal all day, we're pinching each other under the table, we're putting on a show. They have a very chaotic life. And they invited someone into that, and this is what she took away. And, you know, that's unfortunate, but I think that they should be commended. Imagine somebody comes into your house during getting the kids ready for school. Well, you have 8 kids. Like,
my question from this is like, why do they allow this? I mean, maybe they just haven't been burned by the media yet to be like more skeptical, or maybe he has, and that's why he wouldn't leave the room and was like being very controlling, because like maybe he, in whatever he does, he's seen that before. But I felt like they were very naive and to think that like, oh, they're here because they just want to like get to know us and take our picture. Yeah. Meanwhile, they're mad that everything's all about the dad, but the photographer taking the picture is saying, hey, everyone look at dad, when it's like, what about look at mom? Yeah. And the other thing that's I don't agree with is the general consensus after this article is that like she has no say in her own life. You know, she was forced to get married. She was forced to date this guy, forced to marry this guy, and then forced to have children and give up her career as a dancer. And I don't like that. Like that's just, you know, you exist under the assumption that this person has no agency over her life and over her decisions. And just because I would never do, my life choices are completely different than hers. Right. But that doesn't mean that she was forced into this. And I think that everyone's like, I cried reading the article. Like, she gave up her life as a ballerina for him. No, she didn't. She gave up her life as a ballerina to be a mother. And I think anybody who has children can attest to the fact, whether it's on a bigger scale or a smaller scale, you give up things in your life that your husband does not have to give up. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not defending him because I think he's definitely like a nightmare. I would seriously, could never be my husband. The picture that they painted of him in this article, like, yeah, he is controlling and overpowering and like, yeah, it sounds like he like walks all over her. But then you have to question the picture that's painted. Like, how many times have we seen the media like lie or twist something and you know the truth of the situation and then they present it in a different way? So like, I have to take that with a grain of salt to say that like he might not be.
But by the way, if he is controlling, like that tracks with the lifestyle that they lead. Traditional gender roles, woman in the kitchen, man. And the craziest part that I thought she just glossed over completely was the one sentence where she said he said, we're co-CEOs. Because she was like, do you think you're the head of the household? And they were like, no, we are co-CEOs. And then they very briefly mentioned that like, while, you know, they are more traditional, he takes on the roles of taking the kids to the farm, which is like a huge part of their day, and the laundry. Now, laundry is not, you know, just the dishes.
It's not nothing. And for
laundry is a full-time job for 10 people. I thought that was the way that was glossed over because that's a huge responsibility in like the domesticity of it all.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that's like kind of huge.
Yeah.
But let's operate under the assumption that like he is the bossy one, the controlling one, the more typically masculine, traditional. That is their life. That's literally, she said, yeah, we are the face of trad wives. Even though she said, even though I don't think I am, because through my traditionalism, I have become
like the face
a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And I run this empire and I'm actually not. But yes, I guess in a sense, the way we dress and how many kids we have and we live on a farm, it's trad.
There was one thing in the article that concerned me that was also glazed over, which was that she gets so exhausted sometimes. Of course she does. Like she's literally doing a million things. And
she doesn't leave bed for a week.
Take to bed for a week. She can't get out of bed for a week.
Yeah.
Was nobody worried? Like even the author who's so worried about Ballerina, you want to dig in on that?
That would required follow-up questions because that sounds like somebody who has like depression.
No, sounds like someone who's doing too much.
Well, yeah.
Like but it's not even for us to say like her life works for her. What do I know?
No, I know. That's the overall, my takeaway from the article is like, is this a life I want? No. Is this a life like I aspire, like that even remotely aligns with anything I want for no, like seriously, no. But that doesn't make it invalid and her choice. And I just didn't like
people's criticism would be that like this is a dangerous model of womanhood and she's so influential.
Well, I think there are a lot of women who have a lot of influence who are vastly different. It's important to have, you know, people with platforms from all walks of life. You know, there are people on, let's say what's the polar opposite of tradwives? Like OnlyFans, right? Mm-hmm. That's up to, they have millions of subscribers. That's influence too. Why is one okay but not the other?
No, and like if she has 1 million followers, like 1 million people are interested in this dangerous model of womanhood. Like that's their choice.
So hold on, I just wanted to get my they're being dragged because Daniel said that like they have a housekeeper, but they don't have any childcare.
Yeah.
And, you know, a woman with that many kids, like, obviously needs help. And it's just, I find the internet, especially when it comes to like a referendum on motherhood and nannies, like people are always like, well, if you have a nanny, you need to share that. Yeah. And nannies are a privilege. And there's so much chatter about nannies. And here's a woman who doesn't have a nanny.
No, and like people are upset that that her husband won't let her have one.
No, let me just say that could never be me.
No. That like, she needs it. I just always...
No, but also the kids are homeschooled and they have a teacher. They spend all day in the barn, like at school, and that lady watches them. Like that is a form of childcare.
Yes, but she has a 6-month-old, a 2-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Oh yeah,
they're not
there yet
in school. Like, how is she cooking all these things and milking?
Grocery shopping.
I guess she's always wearing the 6-month-old.
That brings me to my first quote I want to pull, because it seems like the lady, she was trying to make the point, the writer, that how frustrating it was that she couldn't get a moment alone with Hannah to like talk one-on-one with her, which is, you know, understandable if that's the subject of your article. I do think that they thought the subject of their article was like their family, not just Hannah. And Hannah obviously has a lot going on, so it was difficult to get her one-on-one time with. And almost like the journalist had like a problem with the kids. Like, oh, it's so bothersome. The kids are here. She takes the baby from her husband. She will not leave Neilman's chest for the 4 hours that we are together. Okay, like how old is she?
6 months.
You take priority over this kid? Who the hell are you? And you're here to smash these people. Like, what?
Right.
Let's throw my kid in the garbage and talk to you.
Let me set my baby down, like deprive her of a contact nap so I can talk to this asshole.
Like she had a problem with the husband, and that was kind of the focus of the article, the underlying state. And that was her.
But she also was annoyed with the kids pulling at Hannah. She's like, I can't get a moment. Anytime she says something, it gets interrupted by a husband or a child.
Like, okay, that's called being a mother. And that's what you're here to observe. So why don't you shut up and watch?
Yeah.
Like you and your annoying questions. Okay, next. The only space earmarked to be Neilman's own, a small barn she wanted to convert into a ballet studio, ended up becoming the kids' schoolroom. well, isn't that a referendum on motherhood? Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, oh, I wanted this nice thing for myself. My kid took a dump on it.
Yeah.
I was just watching Raven Gates' story. Her Chanel lipsticks, like it's like a thing. Her kids are always putting their hands in. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is that, an oppressor? Or is that just like sort of a thing about being a mom? Like you had something you wanted for yourself and it broke.
Yeah, and it's like, we need a schoolroom for the kids. Oh, hey, there's this empty barn. Maybe one day we'll get around to building another one for the dancing.
And I wish the article had spoken more about how, like, it is really sad. She was a Juilliard trained. She was probably on her way to becoming whatever the biggest thing in ballerina-isms is. Like, I don't know what that is, but she was at Juilliard. She was the best. And how sad it is that, like, she couldn't hold space for two truths, right? Being a mom and also being a dancer. And I don't know if that's necessarily a reflection on her husband. More of it is on just a reflection of like gender. And like, that's the role. That's something about being a woman. Like we were taught we could have it all, but we all know we can't.
Yeah.
You can't be a pregnant ballerina. You just can't.
No, you can't.
So I wish there was more, and that sucks. Like it really sucks. And I don't know whose fault that is. I don't think it's her husband's fault. And yes, he had to sacrifice less, not because he's the villain, but because that's how vaginas work.
Right.
And that's how motherhood works. And it sucks. And like, let's talk about that. Like, how do we fix that?
Yeah.
We're not blaming our husbands. It's literally not their fault. Like, it sucks and you want to kill them, but what can they do? They can't give birth.
Right. But I also think like finding the joy in it, and I think that's what a lot of like the trad wife movement and is just like, we've all gotten inundated with content of like motherhood is hard and, we're like tired and give me a glass of wine. Like we've seen it. And now I feel like there's this shift where it's like celebrating like the small, like sweet, wholesome moments that like you experience every single day that aren't like the most exciting things, but like are really precious. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what the movement is more so about, amongst other things, but like, just the joy of like cooking for your children and just like not just seeing it as like, that sucks. Like it doesn't suck. Yes, that is a small percentage of like motherhood.
But
like
it's
you
joyful.
have to give up something, but what, to me, this is my opinion, what you are getting in exchange for the thing that you've given up is exponentially greater.
1,000%. Another thing that everyone is sort of latching onto, I would say this is like one of the bigger moments, and I'll read it. This is what she said. She lowers her voice. Daniel is currently out of the room taking a phone call. Quote, so I got an epidural and it was an amazing experience. Where was Daniel that day? It was shipping day for the meat boxes and he was manning the crew. But the epidural was kind of great. She pauses and smiles. It was kind of great. So for me, a lot of people are like, well, he doesn't let her get epidurals. And so the one time he was gone, she got an epidural. Well, no, actually, this baby was 2 weeks late, 10-pound baby, and her husband wasn't there. Like, obviously, that's a different situation than her normal pregnancies, where it's like, average sized babies and her husband and her partner, her supporter is there.
Right. But also, it's her first baby. So most women who wind up becoming like women who give birth at home, they do have their first baby in the hospital.
Wait, was Martha her first baby?
No. When did she have Martha?
I don't know.
Martha was a home birth.
Oh, okay.
And
you can get epidural at home?
No.
Oh.
So her first two children she had in the hospital, mm-hmm. and that's where she had epidurals.
Oh.
And he wasn't there because he was with the crew. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, like she didn't know she would go on to have a million home births. Right. Your first baby is your first baby, and you go to the hospital and you have the epidural, and then over time, like you might change, you learn new things.
Yeah.
So when I see someone has their first baby at home, I'm like, wow, because that's really like so impressive. Because typically it's more of a slow burn where you like evolve and you're like, okay, you know what? I want to try it at home next time. Or even like you might have a hospital epidural birth first and then maybe a non-epidural birth second. Like it's staggered.
Okay, but in 2021, Martha was 9 months old. That's what
Martha's 3.
But you said the first two were at a hospital.
Her first two are Henry and
right. So Martha was
Charles.
at home.
Martha was at home, yes.
Oh, but you can get an epidural at home?
No. Did she say she had an epidural with Martha?
Yes. That's the quote.
Hold on.
Except with Martha, I was 2 weeks overdue and she was 10 pounds and Daniel wasn't with me. She lowers her voice. Daniel is currently out of the room taking a phone call. Quote, so I got an epidural and it was an amazing experience. Where was Daniel that day? It was shipping day for the meat boxes and he was manning the crew, but the epidural was kind of great. She pauses and smiles.
Interesting. So she had an epidural at home.
Right.
I didn't know that was possible.
So the takeaway from the article and the way I think the author wanted people to read it is like, oh, the one time she gave birth and her husband was around, she secretly got drugs because he doesn't let her take drugs. And I think context is key. The baby was 10 pounds. Her partner, for whatever reason, which I think that's more interesting. Like, where the hell were you shipping boxes? Please. But maybe when you have so many babies, it's like not as important. But still, like, get in the room, bitch. like, I didn't read it and say, oh, he doesn't allow drugs in the house. She says she prefers it this way. And I think some women, like, they think of it as like a challenge and they want to like connect with, you know, the women who came before them. But like, obviously, yeah, give me the drugs.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I think this is what I learned from Aaron Foster, is like you opt for a natural birth and in the middle of it, you're like, fuck this, I want drugs. And you're like, people around you are supposed to say no. Maybe that's what happened. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you can't, the article was just so short and tried to fit in so many things. Like, let's have a whole conversation about Martha's birth. Maybe we'll learn more.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not her husband. Maybe it's the fact that she just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not jumping like everybody else is to conclusions. There was clearly an agenda with this article.
No, there were a couple things that I screenshotted that I thought were so weirdly stated. Like, I feel like she wanted to make like a meal of their age gap. She goes,
yes. Oh, 2 years his junior.
No, she said he was 23 and she was nearly 2 years his junior when they were introduced by a mutual friend. Like,
that's literally me and Ben's age gap. It's the most normal age gap.
That's not an age gap.
No, I know.
Jackie, that's 2 years.
My
that's
ears,
me and Zach.
my ears went up. That is nearly 2 years his junior.
Oh no! And what if they reach the 2?
Right. So they're trying to paint her as a victim of him, and he is this big oppressor. And I don't know if it's because, and I can't stress enough how like, I don't feel defensive of these people because my life is like theirs at all. We couldn't be more different.
You're
like,
a big city slicker.
I'm a big city slicker. I very much am like if anyone, I'm the Daniel. I'm controlling. Like the gender roles in our house are actually like at times super flipped.
Yeah.
You know, Ben's always in the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's not that this way of life is something I aspire to be. I'm Daniel. It's not that this way of life is something that I aspire to be. I'm just like really getting tired of this microscope and like putting this pressure on women to like set the best example forever. Like, why should Ballerina Farm live her life to set an example for other people? It's her life. It's her choice. If you don't like it, you don't want to follow it, don't.
Right.
Like, I just can't. And I want articles like this on the gender roles in the house of, you know, Andre Agassi. Like stop. It's really annoying. Like, it's like I said, influencing is the only industry where it's female dominated and women make 10 times the amount that their male counterparts do. They don't even have male counterparts because men couldn't do it. So stop.
Yeah.
I can't take it. Like, for real. I'm always seeing articles like this. Ariel Charnas into her life and her business. Like, stop.
No.
Stop. It's always about these successful women who are also mothers. Always like, stop. Where are the articles on the dads?
Right. And these are also all working moms at the end of the day. So like, didn't you get what you wanted?
No, and they're working moms and they're not doing it perfectly because it cannot be done perfectly. Either you spend too much time at home and you neglect your work and you're like a toxic boss, or you spend too much time with your coworkers and never at home and you're a neglectful mother. Like, it can't be done perfectly. That's why articles like this are polarizing, because it's like, look, she's not doing it the way I would do it. Like, well, because nobody can do it. It can't be done. It can't. You cannot be a successful business person and a successful mother. You can't.
No, I mean, you can, but just don't ask for approval from anyone. Is certainly not the media elite.
Yeah.
They're not going to like what you're doing.
It was, and the way that everyone's running with it is not surprising. Justice for Ballerina Farm. And I think that her husband and her life is very traditional. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, and Mormon girlies, feel free to shout out in the comments. I think if you follow the Mormon text, the Mormon family is supposed to be like centered around the husband.
Yeah.
Now, is that the way I would make my family? No, but that's someone else's choice. That's someone else's religion. And it is what it is. It's their choice.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
Not going to be me.
So we stand with Ballerina, but you already knew that.
Yeah, you knew we were going to have a hot take. Like, I was not going to come on here and be like, that Daniel's an oppressor. Like, I'm sure he's a fucking nightmare, but like, that's her nightmare, you know? She chose. We need to stop acting like people don't have agency over their own lives.
Yeah.
I didn't see it. I don't think she's a victim. I don't.
No.
I think there are things in her life that she takes control over, and there are things that she defers to her husband on. And I think that's actually relatable for a lot of women who juggle family and husbands and work. And maybe it's not the way that you would do it. Doesn't make it wrong.
I also just don't think this article is an accurate picture of their life, just given like what we know about how journalists journalize.
Yeah.
You know?
And given how short it was, like, you can't capture. We need a 10-part docuseries if we really want to know what it's like.
We do need a docuseries. That I would watch.
1,000%. But I think things like this, like, we are going to get less and less of like a behind the scenes look at Ballerina Farms, because you get scarred. And I think you're sort of naive when you enter the public space. They don't think they're doing anything wrong. They're just living their life and people happen to like it. And it's different. Yeah. But there's nothing wrong with it. They're not killing people.
Yeah.
And so you invite someone into your home from a major news outlet because you have nothing to hide. If you actually have like an abusive home, you're not bringing journalists into your house. You're not stupid. And I don't think we'll get stuff like this anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think she does a good job of tuning it out because I feel like she's been like getting criticism, more quietly, but forever, because that's for what she does. There's a lot of people who aren't going to like it. But she said like she really doesn't tune into it. I think she literally takes her videos, uploads them, puts her phone away.
Very healthy.
Yeah. I mean, she's kind of too busy for the rest of it.
Yeah. Oh, and then like this, I sent it to you, but you obviously could not I can't download.
No, I did. I watched it on my...
She had done a Get Ready With Me like a couple of weeks ago, being like, get ready with me. We have a reporter from the Times coming and like, we're doing a photo shoot and they're going to put me in a gown. And then she did like a little vlog, a day in my life. She was like clearly excited about it.
Yeah.
And like, this is how it turned out. Like, that's sad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
She needs to come on the Toast.
1,000%.
If she wants friendly interview.
Sit down with the Ballerina girls.
With the Ballerini herself. And like the farm is called Ballerina Farm. Like it's all about her. If he was really
No, Jackie, people's takeaway is like, look, he named the farm Ballerina to remind her of the dream that he stole from her.
Stop. That's not even a good take. What I thought you were going to say, which would have been like a more enlightened take, is that he's like milking, squeezing everything out of her, like her brand, her this, her that, like, just squeezing her dry. Like one of his cows.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, like she literally milks cows right into her coffee. Like it's iconic. It's iconic behavior. Sorry.
It's unique New York. Okay. It's unique New York.
And it's not for like, I'll never milk a cow a day in my life, but I can appreciate that other people are doing it.
No, and it's just like at the end of the day, for whatever reason, you might follow Ballerina Farms. Some people, I think it's like actual, you want hands-on
tips and trips.
But for other people, it's just fun and it's entertaining and it's different. For me, like when the things come up, I'm like, oh, I have no inclination to have 8 children or buy a farm, but I'm like, oh, how fun. It's like a little video. It's like a little piece of TV.
Yeah, it is.
And by the way, I don't know if I'd ever really seen like many pictures of her. She's extraordinary looking.
She's gorgeous beyond.
Oh my God, she's like insanely beautiful.
Every picture, whatever she's doing underneath the cow's teat.
And
beautiful.
Even the way they ended
in the storage room, beautiful.
The way they ended the article, which was about the pageant, which felt so abrupt, by the way. I thought the explanation, because I think it is a fair question. Like, why would you want to, why does this pageant mean so much to you? Enough to go, 12 days postpartum, you've just stopped bleeding. And she was like, it was something my sister called me up and said, like, let's do it together just to sort of, and she said, quote, break things up. Like, okay, so she's doing something for herself. It's clear that she said the pageant was for her. Mm-hmm. And we're clowning on that.
Yeah.
Please, like,
no, and now the author is mad that Daniel put her pageant gowns in the garage.
Why she never wears them.
Right.
That's just somebody who's into, cleanliness and organized. It's a bad use of space.
Yeah. And they used to be in her bedroom cupboard. But then
that sounds like a worse putting a dress in a cabinet.
So then they got moved for the kids' stuff. Oh, no.
Why would the kids' stuff go in her bedroom cupboard? Make it make sense.
And so now she's sadly in the garage.
No, the article was...
End of story. And then that's the end.
Right, that's the end. Like, they leave you with that. Look, Daniel's taking away more of her dreams. I can't. Now, if you want to be mad at anyone, be mad at them kids. They stole her dreams.
No, they are her dream, but you don't get that in this article.
No, it was a very clear hit piece, and I'm shocked at actually we were in the library yesterday, and I was picking out a book to read to some of the kids, not like local kids, like the kids I'm related to. Sorry, sounds like I'm like doing like a reading. No, and I was just like looking at. I was surprised how many books they had on like different topics, like not just like the farmer and the well, and they were like media literacy for kids, and I was like, oh, how stupid is this? Seeing people's inability to like read through the clear agenda in this article, I think we all need to read that book.
Yeah.
Because the response, I think, and you're allowed to have whatever sort of takeaways you want, but just to read this article and believe everything that this lady said without questioning any of it, it lacks a reading comprehension, in my opinion.
Well, now I'm so far on the other end of the spectrum that it's like when I'm going into an article like this, like I know, I'm reading everything, like
questioning,
disagreeing with everything. Like, so it takes a lot for the article to actually convince me of what they were trying to convince me of, though it's still possible.
I agree.
I could read an article and be like, wow, what a fucking nightmare.
Our opinions of pieces like this are colored by our own experience, and that's important to know.
Yes, but no, I still feel like even after it took so many years, like we get one of these a month, maybe someone's coming down, and it's just become a joke at this point. And I think really like the Huberman threshold. Like that was insane.
That was really crazy. The cover of such an iconic magazine for such a nothing story.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say like you're going to have to work harder, but like stop trying. Why not just write like a nice thing about someone?
Well, because we wouldn't be talking about it. That's the thing.
No, I would love a look into Ballerina.
Okay, maybe
like,
we would,
period.
sure. But if they did like a completely unbiased, just look at what goes on in a 24-hour period at Ballerina Farm, it wouldn't be as viral. It wouldn't be as polarizing. It wouldn't be spoken about as much as this is.
No, and it also like if it was flattering, like it might convince some people to
live this lifestyle.
Live in any vein of this.
This is muckraking.
They don't want that.
This is muckraking. It's yellow journalism.
Yeah.
It's entertaining to be negative. And I get that. Like I'm a negative person, but at what expense?
But they don't like this movement.
No.
I love it.
I know.
Because like I'm not a trad, like, literally not in any sort of way, but I've like taken kernels from the trad wives that I follow, and it has enhanced my life.
Of course, your gut health has never been more on fleek.
Yeah, no, like we're eating so healthy, cleaner products, cleaner. Like what's bad?
I know, and I'm like the opposite of a trad wife, and my stance on this article comes from just like a genuine. Like, I just love to let people do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to have consequences for society. And just have fun. And
live
be yourself.
And let live.
Be yourself.
Live
oh my
and
God, I feel
live.
so much better getting that off my chest. Like, needed.
Neilman.
I did not know that was her name.
I never pronounced the last Neilman.
I don't know why. And maybe I didn't know that she was a dancer. I literally thought her last name was Ballerina.
Well, her first name's Ballerina and her last name's Ballerini.
No, I think maybe I knew her name was Hannah. I was like, Hannah Ballerina.
Ballerina, Ballerini Farm.
Them living in Rio was like kind of glossed over. That was shocking.
Like, can we dig in on that? 3 kids in Rio?
Yeah, while still being a professional dancer.
Dancing in Rio?
So she danced well into having 3 kids. That's insane.
Yeah, it's the 8 where you've got to put your tutu down.
And she was the first.
But that's a great message for women. You can still dance with 3 kids. And most people have 1, 2 kids, 3 kids max.
Right. They said she was the first dancer at Juilliard in modern history to be pregnant while also a student. Raising the bar.
Raising the bar. Like, she is Superwoman to me.
1,000%. Like,
but then it was like sad to see like Superwoman needs a week in bed here and there.
Yeah, that was really sad. I think she definitely I think the viral nature of her life like puts even more pressure, and they keep growing. And they have a lot of employees.
I was seeing it as more of a physical exhaustion, not mental. I
think both.
Okay, because you seem to think it's like more mental, like, I mean,
the not getting out of bed for days on end, I think that goes beyond any sort of physical sickness.
Wait, you've never been broken?
No, of course I have, and I don't work nearly as hard as her, but like 10 days in bed, like that to me gives like a true depression. I don't know. Well, that's what it sounded like. Of course.
Like, I would have wanted to know more.
Yeah, no, I think there was like a real article to be written here, and this was not it.
Yeah, no.
It was just so convenient. Like, oh, look, the trad wife is like so oppressed. Like, I can't.
The trad wife no happy.
Correct.
Are you ready for our next story?
I am.
Someone who's not a trad wife who's going through it a bit.
Literally me.
Christina Hall claims that her ex, Josh Hall, transferred $35,000 to another account, like from her account.
Ooh, damn.
Christina and Josh filed for divorce this month after 3 years of marriage, but their divorces turned contentious rather quickly after the star accused her estranged husband of transferring $35 of her money.
$35?
$35,000 of her money into his personal bank account.
Well, that's where things get dicey. Like when you know you're going to leave someone and you have joint money, if you transfer it out while you're still married into a personal account, like it's no longer marital property. It's like a really manipulative, crazy thing to do.
The court documents claim that he was able to divert over $35,000 of my separate property rental income into his account. I'm asking for Josh to account for the funds taken and return them to me, as those funds are specifically used to pay any loans, obligations, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance for these rental properties. So he
stole money from her business?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really fucking crazy.
From her personal account.
Yeah, that's theft. That's not... when you have like a joint account, and you guys are like on the verge of breaking up, like what you do with that money in the final days of your marriage.
It was a joint account.
No, that's what I'm saying. When you do that, like that is legal and it's just like really unethical. When you go into somebody's like business account and start zelling yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a problem.
Like what's going on with him? She says she owns rental properties in Franklin, Tennessee and Nashville. Nice. She claims Josh contacted
She's literally a CEO.
She claims Josh contacted her professional property manager via text one day after they filed for divorce and stated, "Hi, for June payments, can we please get it sent to a different account when it's time? Oh, thank you." Christina, who attached a screenshot of the purported text as an exhibit to her filing, further stated she learned about this on July 21st. As for his phrasing, can we please? Christina claims it's inaccurate because she had no personal contact with Josh on July 8th, and I would not have asked him to send himself my money the day after I told him we were getting divorced.
Wait, like literally so crazy to steal and then also leave a paper trail. Like, how dumb are you?
That's
like,
so crazy.
Do it over the phone.
That's really crazy.
No, I think, I hope this sort of tumultuous type of divorce will not put Christina Hall
put her off of marriage.
Put her off of marriage, because I have high hopes for her. She's got to go all
the way. She's got to hit 7.
Yeah. And she can and she will, and I believe in her. But I think maybe something like this, like definitely there'll be a larger gap in between husbands.
Or just, more ironclad legal framework for the next one.
Yeah, but even if you have like an ironclad prenup or whatever, that doesn't stop somebody from literally stealing from you. This isn't within the confines of normal marital.
Okay, then like not giving her the text message number for the property,
Not marrying criminals.
Then she has so many walls up, and how can you really let love in?
Well, it sounds like the beginning of a novel. She's been burned.
Yeah.
Financially, romantically, professionally. Obviously, yeah. Tarek and the hike.
In the hike, it always comes back.
Well, what's also weird is that
T and the H.
Christina and her ex-man have a show that currently airs with Tarek and Heather. They do like a battle, very Bobby Flay energy.
Like Battle of the Exes.
And how weird is that? Like their show is currently airing and they're literally divorced.
Oh, well, that's good for ratings. And then she'll get a new man's to sub in.
Yeah. At this point, they're just kind of like arm candy. They all look the same.
They're interchangeable.
With the exception of Ant Anstead.
Because of Renee Zellweger.
And he was like the silver fox, and he was actually extremely good looking.
Yeah. She'll be fine, but give her back her money.
Give Christina back her money. I feel like he
has like an issue, where he's
gambling.
Like something like that.
It's giving gambling.
Alleged, because I don't know anything, but it's like only a desperate man does something like that.
So true. Also, like, not me being a trad wife here, but like men stealing from women is like so embarrassing. Like I could die of shame for you. Women stealing from men, it's totally okay.
Yeah, take the money and run.
Like she has bills to pay. You know how hard it is out here being a woman.
Mom. Like it is different. It is.
Of course.
Are you ready for our next story?
Only if it's the next story that's brought to you by State Farm. Is that perchance correct?
It is.
This episode of The Toast is brought to you by State Farm. We know our toasters can agree that nothing feels better than a personal win. Like when I got my final piece of furniture delivered to my apartment, my home truly feeling complete, or you hit a personal best in a workout during a run, perhaps you're training for a 5K, perhaps you've kind of perfected your sourdough starter ratio. That's a huge win. And do you know who's right next to you, celebrating with you every step of the way? State Farm. Maybe you're a toaster who managed to stop for a much needed iced coffee and still made it to work on time, or you found a new pair of jeans that finally fit perfectly. Whatever it is that you define as a win, it calls for celebration, and who's cheering right beside you? State Farm. Because with the State Farm personal price plan, you can create an affordable price just for you when you bundle home and auto. So celebrate by breaking out the confetti and those happy dance moves. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the new personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. I kind of like understand now what they're saying with that. Like a good neighbor, I know you love your neighbors. They're like your best friends and they're there for you, especially like you're gone, packages, things like that. Like you need to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
And you also need to know your State Farm agent because like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Talk to a State Farm agent today to learn how you can bundle and save with the personal price plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility may vary by state. Jax, hit it.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. So Jackie and I feel are constantly working on bettering ourselves. And that's like from the inside out. Mm-hmm. Your brain needs to be better too. I love the concept of Masterclass. This is one of those companies that I wish I started myself. What they do at Masterclass, it's a streaming platform where you can learn and grow with over 200 of the world's best. When I tell you, like the talent department at Masterclass is constantly raising the bar. The level of people, it's not just like some random entrepreneur. No, Kris Jenner, Gordon Ramsay, our favorite, Bob Iger. I watch a Kris Jenner one because I feel like that's like the intersection of all my business. I love Kris Jenner.
Applicable skills.
But actually, when you boil it down, I love that they put respect on her name. Like what they've built, and really she's at the helm of it, is so impressive. And I feel like it's similar industry to what we do. And there was a lot of really good takeaways, mostly like if somebody tells you no, you're talking to the wrong person. Like never take no for an answer. I love Kris Jenner. I thought that was a great one. For just $10 a month, an annual membership with Masterclass gets you unlimited access to every instructor, and you can access Masterclass on your phone, computer, smart TV, or even in audio mode. It's great to build up your confidence. They've, if you're into comedy, they've got Amy Poehler. It's also a great gift. You were telling me.
I've gifted it to people who I think would really benefit from it, who love like learning and bettering themselves and hearing from experts in their chosen fields, or just wanting to learn new skills like a cooking class. Such a great gift. So thoughtful.
Right now, our listeners are getting an additional 15% off an annual membership at masterclass.com/toast. That's 15% off at masterclass.com/toast, masterclass.com/TOAST. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. The days are warmer, the walks are longer, and one easy way to help your dog shine this season is with fresh, healthy food from the Farmer's Dog. The Farmer's Dog makes real fresh dog food, delivers it right to your door. Their recipes are developed by vet nutritionists, they're made from real meat and vegetables, and they're portioned just for your dog, making it easy to say goodbye to burnt brown balls and feeding your dog real food with real benefits. There is something that feels superior, like putting real food in a bowl for your dog. That kibble can be like so scary looking. And honestly, after losing Theo, it's like really puts into perspective, like you are the sole provider for your dog. Everything that goes into their body is your responsibility. And Jackie and I obviously are big Cavalier fans. And we think that, we know that maintaining their weight is a huge indicator for their health. Like it can literally add years to their life. And the Farmer's Dog is a great option to maintain your dog's ideal weight. So it's not just fresh, high quality food. They're sending the food pre-portioned for your dog based on their unique needs, making it easy to help your dog maintain their ideal weight. It's one of the biggest predictors of a full, healthy life. A dog with a healthy weight can live up to 2.5 years longer. It's also been found to have a lot of other benefits of fresh diet, like healthier coat and skin, better breath. Oh my God, that was like a huge shift with Theo. Like once we switched him, oh my God, his breath was so bad before. It was so much better. Digestion, the poops are, better size, better time. You get them on a real schedule. So get 50% off your first box of fresh, healthy food at thefarmersdog.com/toast. Plus you're going to get free shipping, but only when you go to thefarmersdog.com/toast to get that 50% off. That's thefarmersdog.com/TOAST.
Thank you, TURDY.
You're welcome, OME.
Our next story, a little Olympics news. Mm-hmm. LeBron James and Coco Gauff have been named Team USA flag bearers at the 2024 Paris Olympics.
That's a big honor.
Tomorrow is the day, and Coco Gauff, who's ranked number 2 in women's tennis in the world, will be making her Olympics debut in Paris. She has been selected as Team USA's female flag bearer just days before the start of the Olympics. And LeBron James will be the male. They will lead the U.S. delegation on the Seine. Oh, the Seine is like needs
duty
a
filled
fucking publicist.
Yeah.
For the Summer Games' opening ceremony on Friday.
Okay, I have such a hot take.
Wrong choices?
No, wrong choice. Love Simone. Like obviously she's like the face of Olympia and America. But like LeBron James gets so much, and like the Olympics is not his thing.
Okay, but male and women. Say one's man, one's woman.
Okay, no, that's fine. Like I just think like if you're an Olympic athlete who doesn't have like the NBA, MLB, like if you're trained, for every 4 years, you only have so many opportunities. There aren't a lot of competition options for you, and there's certainly not a lot of like famous platform options. And LeBron, like he's literally like the most famous person in America. Like I don't know. I think there are a lot of male athletes or just athletes in general who's like the Olympics is their thing. They don't have anything else. Like they train for the Olympics and this is their big stage. And like, I don't know any male. No one's coming to mind right now. Like sort of like Shaun White, but like, like Shaun White isn't like out here.
He's a famous Olympian.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same with Simone Biles. I do wish they had like given.
Simone Biles is not a flag bearer.
You just said.
Coco Gauff.
Oh my God. Okay, her too. Like she has the US Open. Like they both, and I get it. Like you won the most famous, and I get it. But like, I don't know. I feel like it's actually really hard to make a living as an Olympian who's not super famous.
In a sport that doesn't get a lot of pay or a high salary.
And like this is their time, Like LeBron, like he literally, like I think sometimes like has a choice. Like I go to the Olympics this year, maybe I'll go. I'm feeling kind of tired.
I'm not feeling like it.
Yeah, like
it's not exciting. Like I'm sure it's exciting, but like not as it is.
It's not the
Olympians.
Point of their career. It's like a nice benefit, and sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't.
A swimmer should do it. Like this is their time.
Katie Ledecky, Simone Biles. I don't know why I just assumed. I literally, you said Coco Gauff and I heard it. I assumed Simone Biles because she's a famous Olympian,
Yeah, and it's Simone's season.
And I'm sure that Coco Gauff will win gold. I'm sure that America will win gold.
It's not about who's going to win gold.
It's not about that. I just feel like these are two professional athletes, not professional Olympians.
Great.
But of course now, like we were saying early in the week, the Olympic ceremony has kind of become like a dick measuring contest. And so we're going to put our best forward. And who's the best at, the top of their game, most famous? It's Coco Gauff. She's young. She's hot. She's on fire. She's setting records, the youngest woman. And LeBron is LeBron, like the GOAT. I get it.
Yeah.
It's also a dick measuring contest now.
It's worth noting that the Flagbearers were chosen by a vote by fellow athletes on Team USA. But also, again, like they're probably fans of these two.
Okay, that changes things.
They don't know the other people.
Well, that's true. That's true. It's hard to get votes when you're a nobody.
It's a popularity contest.
But that changes things because I'm coming at this like I want the athletes to be happy. And if this is who the athletes chose, then you know what? I changed my mind.
It's the one they got.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with it. Like, I'm not going to have issue.
No, I'm not going to take umbrage.
I'm not going to have ish.
Yeah, she's got the ish.
And if they chose some nobodies, I'd be like, who are these nobodies?
Put LeBron up there.
We just can't, like...
We are insatiable in our unhappiness. We love to complain. And that's just sort of a fun fact about us.
Yeah. I'm excited for all of the ceremonial ceremonies.
Agreed.
The ceremonial sen.
Yeah.
Pray for the Sen.
I'm not praying for the Sen. I'm praying for the people who have to swim in it.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, we need like a medical tent at the end of the Sen. Everybody has to go immediately for testing and they need to be quarantined.
So crazy. Why can't they swim in a pool?
I don't know. They like have to be different. It's a dick measuring contest. Like the Olympics have become a literal, like who has, like, look, we have the Sen. Just go to a pool.
That's so crazy.
I know.
Are you ready for our next story? Mm-hmm. Teresa Giudice is slamming toxic people who spread lies off camera in a puzzling post.
Yeah.
So Teresa took to her Instagram and put out a statement saying, and I thought it was about to be like, I'm leaving Real Housewives because this is what she said. I've been on the Real Housewives of New Jersey for the last 14 seasons. And during that time, I have seen and been a part of my fair share of drama with my castmates. I was like, oh, okay, goodbye, Teresa. Nope, this is what she said. What is happening off camera on social media is absolutely disgusting and is fueled by toxic people who are not affiliated with the show or the cast and are only interested in promoting themselves by spreading their hate through false narratives and lies. It has affected all of us on the cast and our families. They are attacking our children, going after our businesses, and they are turning something that is supposed to be entertainment into something very dark and toxic. This hate and toxicity has to stop. I'm asking everyone to stop engaging in any negativity towards my castmates and all of our families. Enough is enough. Love, 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 Teresa.
So nobody knows what she's referring to. And then like Melissa and Rachel Fuda were like posting on their stories like things that were clearly like about this, being like, girl, it's you, like pot kettle black. I have literally no idea what this bitch is talking about. But it is reminding me of that time on Beverly Hills.
Yeah, me too.
With Diana and the bots and the guy Patrick and Kathy Hilton. We also never got down to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
I have, like, I wish I could lead you guys in some sort of discussion. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about.
Okay, you won't be leading us in discussion today?
No, you know how much I love to lecture and like teach you about things that I feel you know nothing about. Like,
Yeah.
I seriously, I'm clueless.
So there's not like a level of toxicity and negativity on social media towards the Real Housewives of New Jersey, the likes of which we've never seen before in 14 seasons?
I don't know. And I think if there were, it's more directed towards Margaret and Melissa, like, than Teresa. Teresa has like this army behind her. And also, I think and maybe I'm mistaken, I think what Melissa and Rachel are sort of referring to is like, we said this last season when your husband hired a private investigator, was calling our kids' place of work. So now that it's happening to you by the fans, allegedly, now it has to stop. But when it was one of our castmates doing it to us, like that's what the whole point. And they keep bringing up the reunion this particular season, like the envelope. And there was this meeting at Margaret's house being like, we need to get.
Yeah.
So they keep bringing it up, but it's like, we have been saying this.
Yeah.
And it's been happening to us from your husband. So now that like some fans, right? So now that some fans are like saying stuff, like now it's a problem.
Got it.
I think, but I also don't know because everybody's talking in code and limericks.
That is so crazy.
I know.
I did when I was reading this. I thought it was going to be like about the cast shakeup, the reunion, her leaving, something.
By the way, when I read it, I didn't think for a second that she was quitting, but that's an interesting take. I don't think she would have done it. It's clearly an Instagram story that she like wrote up and then screenshotted because that's like Instagram text.
But that's also like how you write stuff.
Yeah. But I think like if you're leaving a show after 14 years, like maybe you like make a Canva graphic.
I don't know. It's hard to make a Canva graphic with so much text.
It's true. No, it's not. Perfecting the art of a statement, whether it's a positive or a negative one, is very difficult.
So sometimes you just like go bare bones, like text on Instagram story, screenshot, post.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And anyways, this was none of that. Love, love, love. Enough is enough.
Now it's enough.
I agree. Like in general, enough is enough.
Right. Conceptually. But like, why now? Why this enough?
Why this enough?
Right.
Enough said.
Correct.
Are you ready for our fifth and final story, which is kind of some blockbuster news? Records are being broken.
Okay. Oh, wait, I know. Something past Barbie. Inside Out 4.
Inside Out 2 tops Frozen 2 as the highest grossing animated movie of all time.
Okay. Do these stats account for inflation?
I think so.
Okay. Because like to me, Frozen is so embedded in the culture, like nothing could beat it. And like, yeah, Inside Out was like popular for a weekend, but it didn't make the impact that Frozen did. So I have to find fault in this statistic. And so my first thought is inflation.
Actually, no, it doesn't account for inflation because Inside Out 2 has now earned $1.46 billion at the global box office. Disney's Frozen in 2019 earned $1.45 billion, but inflation has risen by about 7% since 2019.
Does a movie ticket cost today what it cost in 2019? Definitely not.
Definitely not. Why would it when the cost of everything is more? And
right.
So
movie ticket price 2024.
Oh, okay.
Google that and I'm going to do 2029.
2024. I guess it depends where you're going. Average ticket price is $10.78. And then in 2019, the average ticket price
my thing is like not loading.
I've got it. $9.16.
And what was it in 2024?
$10.78. So it's $1.50.
So I feel like these statistics are kind of meaningless if you're not going to be like an econ major about it. Okay.
Yeah, $19.95, $4.35. That's
what did a movie ticket like used to cost back in the day? Like a quarter, right?
Yeah, like a nickel.
Do you ever think about like how rich you'd be if you lived in the 1900s? Because sometimes it's all I think about.
Like with my balance?
Yeah, like your current balance in the 1900s.
Rockefeller.
Because I think about that when I'm watching The Gilded Age and they sometimes will throw out money figures. I'm like, are you kidding? You're kidding, right?
Yeah.
They're like, she spent $100 on drapes. I'm like, where?
But what's interesting is the last year that over 1 million tickets sold.
Yeah, to me, that figure is more telling.
For not of all movies combined. In 2019... 1,224,504,000 tickets were sold to the movies.
Okay, 1.2 billion in 2019.
1.2 billion. That's a really good way to say it.
Yeah, duh.
2023, 828 million.
Well, yeah, everyone was bouncing back from COVID. Like,
yeah, no, you could say that.
So now in 2024,
that like 2020 was 220 million. Okay.
Oh my God, I'm
2021
crying.
was 400.
So they're building back.
They're building back.
Do they have a figure yet for 2024? Like where we're at halfway through the year?
690 million.
Oh, so it's on track to do more.
Yeah, it's on track to do more.
That is interesting. But this statistic, I'm sorry to like Amy Poehler and everyone involved, it's not legitimate. Sorry. And maybe if you had put Mindy Kaling back in the movie and paid her what she deserved, maybe you would have sold more tickets, myself included.
However,
but you didn't.
Still in
so
theaters.
You won't.
It's still in theaters and it's still going to rake in more. And then I think one day it will be more.
Okay, but somebody needs to do the calculations of how much they need to hit based on, like, you need to adjust it for inflation.
Yeah. That's somebody else's
That's like when they always say, like, oh, Inside Out did better than Titanic. That was literally 35 years ago. It cost $3 to go to the movies.
Most of those lists are adjusted for inflation.
As they should be.
As they should be.
Great.
Look at Brewy Louie.
He's been such a good boy. I'm so glad we were able to talk about Ballerina Farm. I feel like relaxed ever since. I've kind of been holding all this in, like dying to talk about it. I'm glad we didn't talk about it offline prior, you know?
Yeah. And I didn't get to finish reading it until last night anyway. So
I read it twice. First, like just to read it, and second, to take notes and tear it apart.
Classic.
So me. Thanks for the stories. They were great.
Thanks for the turdy. It was great.
So looking forward to seeing everybody
at Gizno tonight.
I don't know what I'm wearing, and that's just sort of what I have to take on now. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Toast and Monday Morning Show. We deliver the fastest stories you need to know every Monday through Friday on YouTube. So if you're watching us on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. We're also available as podcasts and rate podcasts and be found on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Public Radio, iHeart, podcast free with my beautiful, stunning, and wickedly talented we are.
Love ya. Bye.